Okay, we're live. This is James speaking. Welcome to another live webcast. It's, what day is it? 27th of February. We're just after Christmas and kind of in between the holidays, of course, because we've got New Year's coming up. But I just want to come on, spend a couple minutes today and talk about a couple things that are going on in the WordPress space as it relates to our business moving forward, and also just talk about a little bit of what we're doing with the My Pickleball Friend site, because that's kind of our test site that's outside of the norm that we're playing around with, that we spend a lot of time with tools, other things that are non-traditional for coaches, consultants, people who are small business owners who are in that space. So spend a little bit of time on that today. I don't know how long I'm going to go. I just want to make sure that we're actually running in the background here like I always do, just to make sure that we actually have. Let me just go to another screen here. Open up another one. I always take a little bit of time just trying to figure out if in fact, hey, are we actually streaming? Do we have some sound here? And what's running and what's not running. So I'm just going to go to a stream here. Double check on the other side. There we go. And make sure, in fact, that we are live, because a little bit low. So let me just try this now. There's one of the things that I use is this remote. You don't know if you can see it. There we go. It's a remote lapel mic. And sometimes it's a little bit low, one of them is, and I think it's because there is actually a sound on it, and it might be set to the lowest one. So have we got there? Is that better? Can you hear that in the background? It's a little bit low, one of them is, and I think it's because it is actually... 1 second, let's see what happens. Hey, there we go. It's perfect. It's working. Yeah, so we got some sound, we got some video. What's going on today? Well, one of the things that we're working on, I want you just to kind of noodle this in the back of your mind, is we're always talking, or I'm always talking about a topical authority map, answering questions, making sure you know who you're serving or not serving, and really focusing on the markets or the people that you can answer questions for, or provide solutions for, and who those people are, and making sure that you're focusing on them. And one of the things that has kind of not come to light, but I kind of knew but didn't know and wanted to spend more time on, is you go back in the past year and you're going, where did I earn my revenue from? Where is the business revenue coming from? Who are the customers that we tend to be serving on a regular basis that are generating the most income, that are the most fun to work with, and really are in the direction that we want to focus on? And one of the things that's been really challenging for me personally is, since I came from the internet marketing space, or that space where it was traditionally how to earn money online, and it was selling products and services. It was doing things like, writing ebooks or creating online courses to sell. And the courses were really about how to earn money online, or how to use WordPress, or in case here, like how to use a piece of software in WordPress. And we're still focusing on that. But the thing that's interesting is when I went back and I took a look at, the last year's kind of revenue stream, where the highest margins were, where the profits were. And the thing that became more obvious to me is that a lot of the income we were generating was coming from building training sites that had nothing to do with actually selling the product that was in the training site. So what do I mean by that? It was actually more of the income was coming from companies, small and mid-sized companies, who were training their staff, who were certifying their salespeople, who were certifying their resellers, or that were training their internal and external employees, if you want to call it that way. So the thing that, that kind of was brought to my attention again, and is going to let me be able to focus on it over the next year, is we're still going to do stuff, of course, that has to do with how to build a training site, how to sell courses in a training site, how to, create courses. It's all of the same stuff, but the marketing we're going to be doing, I am going to spend more time focusing on that marketing that isn't necessarily for selling courses, because there's a lot of work there, and a lot of companies are having to create courses to certify people to make sure that they're trained, because they're still not in the office. I know some of the people that I talk to on a regular basis, even in large companies, they're looking at a maximum of 3 days a week. So some are 1 day a week, some are 2 days a week. The rest of the time they're still working from home. In fact, some of them don't even have offices anymore because the companies during COVID got rid of them, or they downsized, pardon me, they downsized or kind of repurposed buildings or spaces that they had and made them either, got rid of them or are using them for different staff or different parts of their business. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the number of employees in these medium-sized businesses and even small businesses, especially external resellers or places that are external to the business. You have to make sure that they're up to date on your products, your services, your standard operating procedures, all the things that you do as running your business. It's like you got to make sure people are trained. And this is especially important if you're someone who is a small business owner who is kind of at the hump and who has not hired staff to replace themselves, is to make sure that you are able to educate the people that you are offloading your work to, that they do it the way that you want to do it, so that you can train them and provide a resource for them to come back to and actually look at. And there's two, kind of interesting places for us internally where this kind of showed up is in the past. I'm not sure if we're going to still use it, but for the past couple of years, we've been using a project management tool called teamwork.com. An excellent, excellent tool, especially for agencies like we are. That one's still around. We're still using it. They have one of the modules of that is called Spaces. And basically, it is like a huge, huge library for us internally to use our standard operating procedures, to keep the processes that we use on a regular basis, to keep an archive of them and update them and provide or keep them in a specific area. We can do that for internally, for the processes we use internally, or the information that we need to use on a regular basis to keep it internally, but we can also use it as a library for content that gets created, or that is important content that we gather from the customers that we have in our agency. And that whole kind of piece of having that standard information and being able to have that as part of your training site, as part of a way to keep track of what you're teaching and what you're not teaching, that's part of, or gets turned into, or is a basis or a foundation for the training and the standard operating procedures that you do for your companies initially. Now, just to sidetrack, the other thing that's happening for us personally is some of my goal always is to do everything internally within WordPress. And we use Teamwork for project management right now, and that is an excellent tool. However, it's probably a bit too much for us at this point. So I kind of have two choices. As a business owner, I keep using it and keep investing our information into these spaces and the tools that they have and the ability to manage the projects in there amongst our agency staff. But I'm investing something that's external to the WordPress site. And you've heard me talk about this before. I'm not keen on using software as a service if I don't have to. That's the last piece, is this whole project management part and the knowledge base. So what's happening in the background that we're focusing on, or I'm focusing on specifically, is that Fluent, I think WP Ninja, I don't know the name of the actual company, but it's the Fluent suite of products and services that we use that are WordPress plugins like Fluent Support, Fluent CRM. These important ones, they're also adding a project management tool to be internal within WordPress. So that's the part that I'm kind of noodling around is, do I stay with teamwork that is external and invest all the information externally to my company, or do I make sure that I keep it within WordPress? And the thing, of course, is that the one within WordPress, I don't know if it's going to grow continually, but I'll always own my data. On the other hand, teamwork is mature and would allow me to not have to worry about things if and when we add more staff. But I'm investing my content and my procedures externally to the company. So kind of a tough one to decide on. Haven't made a big decision yet. We'll wait until Fluent Boards is what it's called, coming out in the next little while, if we actually install that, which we will, to look at it. But we'll see what happens with that. And Fluent actually it's an interesting company because they've done a really good job of picking the big problems for agencies and small businesses in the WordPress ecosystem that are actually growing. We're in a situation where they've got one for support, they've got one for CRM, they just brought one out for booking. So they allow you to book time, either paid or not time, with people visiting your website. So they're going to be doing Fluent Boards, which will be a project management tool and a sales funnel tool that is supplemental to the CRM. So they're picking off pieces of all of the stuff of doing business. So if I could do it internally, I would love to. On the other hand, because they're all Fluent tools, they integrate really well, but what happens to Fluent if they happen to either change direction or they want to do something different? I don't have any control of that, but I still have my data. So I guess it kind of works both ways. Is like you always have the data, but you don't know where you're going to be using it or accessing it. The other tool that we have for WordPress, again, another one that's a great tool, is called Better Docs. And I was talking about in Teamwork, they have this Spaces module, which is about organizing the content, the videos, the standard operating procedures, information that we use on a regular basis. I have Better Docs, which is another WordPress plugin that allows me to do the same thing as Spaces, but again, it's my data internally that I'll always have access to as we invest in it. So that's the one I'm going to be spending some time with as well, is making sure I keep track of what's happening within WordPress, trying to keep stuff in WordPress, and making sure that it all works together and that I have the opportunity to leverage that content as we build out the company moving forward. So that's kind of stuff that's happening in the background. And when I look at this, the other part of this whole space is, because it's not necessarily about selling courses, it's about managing the relationships and the non-selling customers that we're running into on the agency side. There's got to be a balance between having the site set up for selling courses and having the site set up so that we can educate ourselves internally. And this is the exact same thing that's happening to external customers and the ones that we have to spend some more time with, or we have been spending time with, that are not selling products and services. So that stack of tools that you put together to provide the training sites for your customers or for yourselves internally, it's not always about selling courses. And I was just kind of thinking about this when we're doing it and saying, how do you set up WordPress differently if you aren't selling courses? What about if you don't have to have a membership site or some kind of monthly recurring income? What happens to your WordPress site, or how do you set your WordPress site up if it's just to have local people log in, or local employees log in, or external people to your company but who are involved in your company who are not participating in the purchase of things? And this involves stuff like group purchases. We have a number of customers, for example, or group registrations, a number of customers, as an example, who they don't want to sell courses, so it's not like just getting someone to go through a checkout process to create a username and password. Someone might have 10 employees or 100 employees and they want 100 employees to be added to the course or 100 employees to be added to it. How do you set things up so that they work and people who are not purchasing stuff get access to courses and content within? The other thing is how much of a community or a learning campus do you need for the company? If someone is just trying to say, these are the standard operating procedures, I want you to understand them, here's a resource for it if you need to go back to it, that's one thing. Do you actually have to go and have a learning space where people can ask questions and get specific answers from an instructor, from an HR department, from someone who's running a particular part of the company? Do they need to be involved in it? Do you have to have a facility of the WordPress site or the training site so that they can interact with it? Even things like live training. If you have people internally, but they might be in different offices or they might be in different cities or different parts of the country, the state or the province, wherever you happen to be, do you have to have live training? Do you need to have a calendar? All of these pieces that we talk about when it's selling courses and memberships and providing teaching and training online, sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. So the thing that's going to happen here over the next little while is I'm going to continue to do these sessions. We're going to keep on going on it. I'm going to keep on answering questions that come up. But it'll be interesting because I'm going to actually do some trainings on not having to sell courses and what's the difference between selling and not selling them. And let me just see if I can bring up a screen here just to show you one of the examples of how this can be important. Now, here's just an example of one of the things that is in the My Pickleball Friends, and I'll just give you an example of one of these things that can make them different. And I've done a number of videos for the last little while on having an instructor or multiple teachers or multiple people giving the courses. And this is a classic example because if you're doing a training site and the training site is not about you as the coach or the consultant, the subject matter expert trying to sell your courses, how are you going to set up your training site if you have different departments or multiple instructors for each of the individual topics or procedures that you're trying to teach in the campus? So one of the examples that we've got here is if I go into the My Pickleball site, hopefully you'll be able to see this on the screen, is we've got multiple instructors that are enabled on this particular site. And of course the reason is we want to be able to have students, but also have the ability to have the instructor to sign up and sell their course or provide their course on the site. And what we did here is I actually created, we'll open it up, I think it's called, this is one where I'm asking instructors to go and apply for it, but I've got the instructor, let's put a C in there. Got instructor application, that one should be the right one. There we go, so join our instructor community at My Pickleball Friends. So this is giving people an opportunity to become an instructor. We're doing it this way because we want to double check and make sure that in fact people can sign up and we have a chance to look at them before we allow them to put a course in. If someone is internal, some of the plugins that you have allow someone who's registered for the site already to say, yes, I have a course, I'm going to be marked as an instructor. And that's one with Tutor LMS, one of the plugins we've been working with on this site. But that's just an example of how sometimes you have to set up your WordPress site and use tools that are different based on the purpose and the target of the people that you're going to be training and or selling or not selling to. So that's an example of one where we fill in how to apply, and someone can go in and take a look at it and say, here's my name, email address, here's a course idea, title that I have. This is the one that I want to kind of focus on. On the other hand, this can be built in for someone internally. So I'll show you this one, I believe it's here. There's one for students, Q&A, and if I'm not mistaken, I'll open this one up. But I think this one is in settings, dashboard page, enable marketplace. Yep, that's the one here. We'll put that one and make it open. Allow instructors to publish courses, become an instructor button. So here's one example where we've opened it up and save these changes. I now have the opportunity for someone to say, hey, I'm registered for the site already. I'm registered as a student. I want to become an instructor. And this is just an example of one that's set up in a plugin. We have other plugins for providing or delivering courses that don't have instructors built in. So these are the things I'll do some courses on, information on in the next little while, just to share how this works or doesn't work. And on this one, it's kind of interesting because this setup for my pickleball friends was about creating a marketplace where we could have multiple instructors, where I've done it there. On this one, we've got published courses. On this one, monetization, and we've got a sharing percentage. So I've got enable revenue sharings available so people can do that. I've also, let's do this one where we got WooCommerce is our e-commerce engine, automatically complete WooCommerce orders. I'm going to put that one on actually. Generate WooCommerce orders. If you want to keep track for manual enrollment, I'm not going to do that one yet, but here's the sharing percentage. This is one where, for the most part, I'm going to be having multiple instructors, but sharing revenue. Again, in a company opportunity, you don't need this, so it might be another plugin or another setup that you have or don't have. So in this one, I've got instructor takes 80%, admin takes 20%, and you know, obviously, I've got one here where someone can place an order. If it's an instructor externally of ours, they can earn 80% of the revenue based on who purchases their course or who doesn't purchase their course. So there's lots of opportunities here to do stuff other than selling, other than yourself being the only person that's creating courses. And the question becomes, how do you set your site up to make that all happen? So I'll do some one-on-one courses for there, and if you haven't already, make sure to visit the trainingsites.io website. Join the community there. We'll have a number of the courses free. And again, this is all about WordPress, all about training sites, all about membership sites, all about creating your own courses, which is becoming drop dead easy right now. We'll keep on spending stuff on there. You know, as a content creator, for us personally, there is an absolutely huge opportunity to be sharing our knowledge and really getting a lot of benefit and psychic income for ourselves to be able to share what it is that we're doing and generate revenue from it. And externally, if it's a small business, it's making sure that they can provide a better product and or service with the staff and the people that they have, really keeping up to date with everything that's going on. So, you know, these are exciting times for WordPress and online learning, online courses, online teaching. And I think there's going to be some neat things coming out of it. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day today. Make sure to join the site, subscribe to the channel, gone on Wednesday. If I do get questions at any time, they're here. Try and put as much information in the description as I can below. But if push comes to shove, make sure to visit trainingsites.io and you'll be able to go and sign up, be a free member, get some great content, and get some of your questions answered. So let me see, where can I turn this off? Let's finish, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, expect the best.